Starting. Now, come on.
Can you please move Nazim in? I can see Nazim is on there now.
Nazim, yes, I will let him. So hello everybody, welcome to the presentation of Vulcan Energy Resources that a lot of happened in the recent weeks. So I would directly like to hand over to Ms. Rodhammer, who will start the presentation until Mr. Kreuter will join. So Ms. Rodhammer, please go ahead. We are really happy to have you here today.
Thank you very much, and welcome to all of you. I hope you can hear me. If at all I am speaking too fast or not loud enough, please put in the messenger for me to slow down. I will introduce briefly, and then Nazim will take over. If you have any questions, please ask along the way. I will quickly go through these disclaimer slides. We're also very happy to send you this presentation. We will do that to our colleagues at Alster Research, and we'll send it to you out from there. So just a real brief introduction to Vulcan. I would suspect that many of you have read about Vulcan, be that in the media or done Google search, you're potentially investors. Vulcan, we're aiming to be the world's first integrated lithiums, chemicals, and renewable energy producer. We've recently gone through released our DFS study for our phase 1 production, of which we're aiming to be in a commercial scale production mode by the end of 2025. Our targets are around renewable heat production of more than 1 million for more than 1 million people by 2030, enough lithium for 1 million EVs, and really with 1 million tonnes of CO2 per annum. So we do have some ambitious targets, but we're well on track. Really just briefly, when we look at our business as a whole, we have one operating, so Insheim here is our plant near our Karlsruhe office, existing of 2 geothermal plants planned for our phase 1 and 2. We also have the sorption plant here, which we have 2 new LEPs on the way. We have a pilot plant, and we also have a demonstration plant, which we are expecting to be in full operation mode by the mid of the year. Oh, the slides are going through. With the demonstration plant is absolutely designed to be training our team in a full commercial mode. We have enough data generated from the pilot plant, and we will continue running this, but it's a demonstration plant that's really going to be the one that enables us to be able to train our staff, bring our investors through to be able to see our production. So then it'll obviously be scalable up when we go into full scale commercial mode. We will have one central lithium plant. It's in Frankfurt, in Höchst, an industrial park, and we are starting to look at construction phase there. Certainly a big part of our organisation is around the heat as well, and we're looking to, Horst is now joining, so I will be able to hand over to him after this slide, but certainly it's around electric mobility for us and renewable heat generation as well. So Horst, we are doing this presentation in English. I will be able to hand over now to you, and if you could take us on from key achievements, please.
Yes, I can do. So hello to everybody. Sorry for being late. I had a problem getting into the channel. I'm just to tell you a little bit of myself. I'm one of the founders of Vulcan. I'm the geothermal part of the business, while Francis, the other founder, comes from the lithium part. So we founded the company in 2018. The first parts of what we were doing is not presented in this slide. So it's just showing where we come from 2021. And this means it's the latest developments that we are showing here. But it has been a very active time, as you see here, with all the different milestones we achieved in here, which is not just a capital raise, but also the cooperation with BNP Paribas for financial advisor. We also signed binding offtake agreements with 5 companies. So we are sold out for the first 5 years. In the case of Stellantis, we have a contract for 10 years to sell the lithium to them. We also saw the problem that there are big drilling rigs going out of the market because the oil and gas industry is going down in Central Europe. So we bought 2 drilling rigs and opened a drilling company called Vulcan to be able to perform all the drillings that we are having be in front of us. As a matter of fact, we not just need 2 rigs, we are in the process of buying 2 more rigs that will be manufactured for us. Yeah, then we are now listed not just at the ASX in Australia, but also at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. As you have seen, our project is threefold. So you have the geothermal part, you have the DLE part where we extract the lithium, and you have the part of refinement, which is taking place in Frankfurt Höchst. And for this, the Central Lithium Plant, we are working with Nobian, which has a lot of experience in electrolysis. And so what we are doing is we will build, together with Nobian, an electrolysis plant in Frankfurt Höchst. We are also moving in different countries. One of them is Italy. There is some lithium in some of the geothermal resources there. We have a cooperation with Enel, the big Italian electricity company and utility company that we partnered up with for Italy. Also, we are now in France. We are sharing the Upper Rhine Valley together with France. So to expand our operation into France, we have built a company in Hagenau, which is in Alsace, just north of Strasbourg, and have applied for a license to extract the lithium there. So Stellantis also came in as an investor, putting 50 million on the table to help us proceed with our projects. Yeah, what you see where we're standing now and what we are doing at the moment, we have developed our own lithium, and we have not just a pilot plant, 2 pilot plants up and running in Insheim, but we are also having under construction a demonstration plant, which is 500 times higher. French expansion is also mentioned here, as we are planning at the end of the year, after we finalized 2 3D seismic exploration campaigns, which is the first step to look into the subsurface from the surface before drilling. We have performed 2 of them, and we're planning a very big one end of this year going into the next year. And yeah, then we had to have an agreement with Stellantis. They have an Opel factory in Rüsselsheim that you might be aware of, and they definitely need heat to decarbonize, and so we are cooperating with them. And this is a very good opportunity and shows what geothermal can do in the Upper Rhine Valley, decarbonizing the industry. We have a lot of industry along the Rhine River. One big name that you know is BASF. We also have Mercedes and Daimler Trucks and other big production companies that really need decarbonizing. Can you switch to the next, please? I think I cannot do it. Or can I? I can. That is the next one. Okay. So We have goals for our first phase. The first phase is the first in very many phases that we are looking at and in the future. The first phase has now been defined in a DFS, and the DFS looks at 224,000 tons of lithium hydroxide to be produced starting end of 25 with ramping up later. We also will produce heat, and the heat will be distributed to industry, as mentioned before, and also to heating grids that are operated by city utilities. We have signed a contract with MVV, the city utility of Mannheim, to supply them with heat from our projects. And if there is no heat customer around, we will produce electricity. So it depends where we are. If we can sell heat or cold, cold will be more important in the future because of climate change. We will see days with over 40 degrees of heat in the atmosphere in the Upper Rhine Valley. So cooling will be also one of our energies that we can supply. We have a center of the car industry in Germany, in Europe, as you know, and so we're pretty close with our production to all our customers that are solely producing in Europe. So none of our lithium will go outside of Europe. We want to be a part of the raw materials chain in Europe. We're in the Upper Rhine Valley. The Upper Rhine Valley is the largest brine resource of lithium in the world. And we have the situation that these 12,000 square kilometers, 300 kilometers north to south from Frankfurt to Basel, and about 40 kilometers wide, that this is really exceptional, not just from the size, but also from the geology. We are the ones that can really make a difference. We want to start construction by drilling summer of this year. Then we have to do a lot of drilling to get lithium from the resource and heat from the resource. But the goal is to start production end of 25. We have started out, the two of us as founders. We have integrated companies, and now we are more than 300. Even the 280 from 2 months ago is outdated. Actually, we're more than 300 people. So we put everything on the projects to be successful. We will finance the project through debt and equity. I will come back to that later. And we have all the expertise in-house to make it happen. Next slide, please. Those are our licenses in the Upper Rhine Valley to use energy from geothermal and to produce lithium. You need licenses for these resources, and we have picked up more than 1,500 square kilometers of licenses in the Upper Rhine Valley, where we can produce not just the first phase, but also the second and third phase, and build more and more of these projects to tap into the resource. I have told you about the size. You see that there are already projects around. There are 5 operating geothermal projects, large projects in the Upper Rhine Valley. So we have more than 10 years of experience. One of these projects is in Insheim, a project that I personally started to explore in 2004. And it has been built and is in operation for 10 years now. So with the production experience of the Upper Rhine Valley, we know exactly what we want to do and what lies before us. So in the second part, you have the mention of the licenses. We're in the middle of the battery industry. The closest one is near Strasbourg near Kehl. It's a small battery plant, but then you have close to Tübingen, Porsche. You have in Kaiserslautern, you have ACC and Stellantis who are doing a battery factory. And there's Daimler Trucks looking around in the area for also build a battery factory for them. So we are right in the middle of the activities of the battery industry. And we start with the first phase, but as I said, it will not be the only one, but we will grow from here. Next slide, please. Okay, so how does it look in the subsurface? We understand after 20 years of exploration in the Upper Rhine Valley, how the Upper Rhine Valley works, how it will supply the right amount of heat and lithium for us. The first well I drilled in 2005 was not successful because at that time we didn't understand the Upper Rhine Graben. You see these lines going through the pictures. Those are fault zones. Those are the areas that supply a large amount of water. And we're drilling especially in these areas to guarantee high flow rates and to reduce risks of seismicity. That is the trick that we have learned in 20 years. And so you see one of our clusters. The cluster is called Lionheart. King Lionheart, Richard Lionheart, was in prison in our area. That's why it was an idea to use his name for one of our clusters. And you see that we have 7 well sites there. You see the wells, how they are orientated towards the fault zones. You see that we will do 8 producers. Those are the red ones. And then we have re-injection wells where we put back the brine into the formation. We have 10 of them. And in total, we have to drill 14 new wells for this cluster. Next slide is showing the next cluster, which is called Taro. Taro is a little smaller, but also has a potential of being expanded. But the first 2 projects that we are planning there are also orientated towards the fault systems. And we have 2 well sites that we will build. And 5 producers, 3 re-injectors are planned to produce and to re-inject the water. So a total of 9 wells have to be built, and we have the drilling capacity to do that, and we need some time to do that. Usually a well is taking 3 months. You have some tests if you have successful drilled to find out the temperature and the flow rate. But it's a sequence that you will see in one of the next slides. So that is Taro, our second cluster. If you want to know where the name comes from, it's the name of my dog, but it's the firstborn boy in Japanese. So next slide, please. Okay, as we are not mining heat, which has a stable production of temperature over 50 or 100 or even more years, we are using the brine that is inside the pore space and the fractures. And as we are re-injecting brine that has been, where the lithium has been taken out, we have a reduction, a dilution of lithium in the brine over time. We have modeled that, so we have a very good idea about the reduction of the lithium in the brine. It's a very conservative view because we know that if you re-inject brine and it's heated up, it will also produce lithium from the minerals that contain brine in the subsurface. So we know that there will be more lithium coming into the brine again, but as nobody has done that yet, being conservative, we just forgot about this opportunity. So we said we're just taking out the lithium from the actual brine and not look at lithium coming back from the minerals into the brine. But you see that over the lifetime, we still are in the range, even so there's some dilution to produce and to have successful projects over a long time. The time span that we were looking at goes up to 2054. Okay, next slide. So drilling, we have, as I said, we have bought 2 drilling rigs that have been going out of the market because oil industry is going down. We saved them in a way, and we, as they are not brand new rigs, we had to refurbish them. That is what we have done, and the first well will start in summer. The second will come 2 months later, and then we have 2 full operating drill rigs, and others will come for the next phases down the line. We have built the drilling company, we have staffed the drilling company, and that is a part of the 300 persons working for us, because you need a 24/7 way of drilling, and therefore we need a lot of staff to be operational during 24/7. Here you see the plan when and in which areas the rigs are planned in, and the time that they need starting from drilling until success. Next slide, please. Okay, so as we have drill sites, but to be more economic, we centralize either the heat stations or the power plants or the direct lithium extraction plants, the sorbent plants. We have to, in centralizing, we have to use pipelines to interconnect the different well sites, the brine production, towards the use of the brine. And we have set up a special concept. That means that we have 2 interests. One is taking the heat, the other one is taking the lithium. For the lithium, we need the direct brine that contains the lithium. For the heat distribution, either to heating networks or to cooling networks or to power plants, we just need the heat being transferred by water. So we have water circulating to transfer the heat, and we have brine that will be transferred by pipelines to the sorbent plant to take the lithium out, and also have pipelines to bring it back to the drilling locations to be re-injected. So we have an inner circuit with the brine where we take the heat out and then take the brine for the sorption plants, and then the heating network with pure water, industrial water, is supplying the heat to every use that we are planning. And we need pipelines for that, and that sketch shows you how these pipelines are set up between the different locations. Next.
Horst,
yeah.
There are. I see that there are a couple of questions. Do we want to respond them straight according to the slide, or do we want to collect them and touch them at the end?
If I think we would have a broader discussion at the end, but if there are short questions concerning the slides, they should be told. I have not.
Do you have the chat?
Do
you have the chat underneath the, or maybe Alistair team could clarify and could take the moderation on this topic?
And maybe let's put the questions at the end, so everybody has a chance to ask during the presentation the question in the chat, and then we sum it up at the end of the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So please go ahead with the presentation.
Okay, good. So these pictures are showing the pipelines. It is following the description that I have just given you. So we have In Taro, we only have a 5-kilometer pipelines. In the much larger Leinhardt cluster, we have more pipelines. And the sketch is showing that you have the well sites, that you have the ORC plants and the sorption plants that will be supplied. Next slide. Okay, here you see the power plants. At the location of a power plant, you have the installation of an ORC, organic Rankine cycle, is a special type of power plant. It is not using water steam, but steam from a hydrocarbon. The important fact is that water evaporates at 100 degrees. This hydrocarbon is evaporating at 30 degrees, which means you have a much higher pressure if you have a resource of, let's say, 160 degrees. So the difference between 160 and 100 water steam is less than between 160 and 30 degrees, which means you can produce power more efficiently. That's why we are using this type. At power production, you always need a cool end, because you're taking the pressure of the change from fluid to gas and back to fluid. And to get into fluid again, you need cooling, and that is the air coolers that you see that are taking most of the area. These coolers are set up, as you see in the right picture, at a certain height, so the air can come in from below and then will cool the liquid and make it fluid again before the hot air then comes out above. And we are planning several ORCs. As you see, we have 2 ORCs, a small one that is already existing in Insheim, and we have a large Leinhardt ORC. And you see that how much power we're producing in total, combined with Taro, which only sees a smaller power plant of 8.4 megawatt. So in total, we will produce 37.1 megawatt of power, and we also at the same time produce heat. 50% of the heat we will use for the solvent extraction, 50% can be used for either power production or for heating purposes, and the heat production is in total 30.4 megawatts in this example. The water comes in temperatures depending on the location between 140 and 200 degrees, and will be re-injected at the moment in Insheim with 65 degrees. So we use the temperature differences between these 2 temperature levels. Next slide, please. In total, we are producing energy more than we use for ourselves. We are producing, as you have heard, not just power, but also heat. The power production is not sufficient to cover our electricity needs, so we have to purchase CO2-free power. But on the other hand, our heat production is so large, it's more than we need, so that in total, looking at power and heat, we are producing more energy, which comes the surplus from heating. And this shows you at a different location coming from geothermal, from lithium, and for the total of phase 1, how the distribution of energies is. Next slide, please. So what we are doing is we want to extract the lithium through a sorbent technology. We choose sorbent technology because it's on the market and being used commercially since 20 years in South America, also in China and other places. So we know how it works and that it works to extract lithium from the brine. There are 7 other methods to extract lithium, but these are not commercial. They are in a test or lab phase. We choose the one technology that is proven technology. The only thing we have to do is we have to adopt it to the chemistry of our brine. And that is why we need the pilot plants. And we have on the left side 2 pilot plants. The one in the foreground on the left side is one that is working under atmospheric pressure, which means we release the pressure in the brine circle, take some of the elements out that we were fearing could interfere with the sorption. So we took, for example, silica out, and then we used the sorbent to extract the lithium. We have designed our own sorbent, and this sorbent works very well under pressure. And therefore, we built a second pilot plant that you see on the right side on the left, which is under glass, as you see, because it's under pressure. It's under 17 to 20 bars pressure, which means if you have a leakage, it will, spray water. And to avoid that, we have this glass frame around it. And what we're doing there is using our own sorbent that we developed, Vulsorb it's called, to extract the lithium under pressure without touching the brine, which is a very positive part because we don't need pre-treatment or post-treatment. That is shown in the next slide, I think. On the right side, there's a demonstration plant. You see pictures where we are starting to build up this demonstration plant. It should be full operational summer this year. With that, we are 500 times bigger than the pilot plants. This demonstration plant is used to train the personnel and also to get some experience in managing a direct extraction plant. Next slide, please. So that is showing what I just explained. In the beginning, we thought it might be a problem for our sorbent with our brine, that the brine would destroy the sorbent. So we took some parts out. That is not necessary anymore. We scratched out the pre-treatment and the post-treatment, which is a lot of we are saving a lot of money on the capex side, on the opex side by doing it this way. And it has been proven through this second pilot plant that this works. And so we're very happy about that because that's also helping the economics, as you can imagine. Next slide, please. Okay, that is a sketch of the 2 lithium sorbent extraction plants. The one in Taro is a smaller one. You see that there we are producing 8,000 tons per year of lithium hydroxide out of 300 liters per second brine. The bigger one is double the size, 16,000 tons per year. So in total, we are producing the 24,000 that you have seen in one of the earlier slides. That is building on 600 liters per second brine that we collect in the different drill pads. And then at the end, we get a dilution of lithium chloride as an intermediate product. And this product will then be shipped by trucks to Frankfurt Höchst, to the Infrasurf Chemical Park. And there we have the central lithium plant to bring lithium chloride into lithium hydroxide. Next slide, please. So this is shown here. So we have a large area reserved for us, 100,000 square meter of area inside the chemical park to build up the central lithium plant to process the 24,000 tons per annum of lithium hydroxide. The area is made for expansion, so the first part will be the first phase, but we can expand for the next phases also in this area. So the area booked for us is large enough to also serve the other phases. As I said, we are working with Nobian, who have the know-how of electrolysis, and that's why they were a perfect partner for us. Next slide, please. So here we see that the capex that we are facing. So in total, you see the setup of the different parts: geothermal, local lithium extraction plants, central lithium extraction plants. But in total, the capex for all of our project is about 1.5 billion euros that we will need. I won't go into the details. You can have the presentation, so you can look it up in detail later. Next slide, please. Yeah, OPEX, also same thing. We have a total OPEX that is made up of the different areas. Also, please have a look at it. I would like to have some more time for the discussion. That's why I'm kind of rushing through these that are too long to be explained in detail. Next slide, please. Yeah, what it means is that looking at the forecasted price of lithium, we are a very low cost producer. All the other production that is worldwide going into production in the future are more expensive. Why? We are a renewable energies project, which is also selling energy, not just lithium, which helps the economics, and also because this direct lithium extraction is a clever way of producing the lithium hydroxide that we want to sell and that we will sell to the OEMs and to our other customers. The forecast of the price over the next years is something very specific. There are researchers that see the price dropping. There are some that say that it will stay up because the need of lithium is so big. So forecasting, but still with the price that we can offer as cost, based on the cost, we are still in business while others might have stopped production. Next slide, please. These are the OEMs and LG Energy Solutions, the second largest battery supplier in the world, and Umicore, who is building cathodes that need lithium. 10-year with Stellantis, 5 years with the others. Agreements that will help us fund all what we want to do, because stable offtakes agreements are important if you are looking for capital. So people want to know where the money, the profit can be made, and these are based on binding offtakes agreements. Next slide, please. So I told you forecasting of the lithium price is something special to do. You see, we have looked at some of the companies that did the forecast. So we have an average over time that we see of 30,000 euros per ton. At the moment, I think it's about $70,000 per ton of lithium hydroxide. So we are far away from the low price that we think might be the best guess for the future. Next slide, please. Yeah, where does the revenue come from? And you see that the revenue from the geothermal plant is coming from heat sales, power sales, but also by selling the brine to the DLE plant. the DLE plant gets its profit from selling lithium chloride to the central lithium plant. So if you look at the overall picture, where the income comes from, the major part, about 80%, is coming from the lithium. 20% about is coming from the energy, and that is helping us reducing the cost, being a renewable energies project offering zero carbon lithium. Next slide, please. Okay, the economics. That is the summary giving, how much OPEX we have in this field. You see also the division between geothermal, the lithium extraction, combining the direct lithium extraction and the refining. So the total cost and the payback can be seen from this slide, especially the IRR that will be reduced by the OPEX and all the costs that we have. At the end, we have a 3.5-year payback of the whole project. The payback on the geothermal side will be longer. The payback on the lithium side will be shorter. But if you look at the whole package, it's about 3.5-year payback. You can go through the numbers yourself to find out how the numbers add up. As we only have 15 minutes more to go, I'll just switch to the next slide. So permitting is a big part of it. We are happy that the governments in the states of Baden-Württemberg and Rheinland-Pfalz and Hessen have seen the opportunity that lies in the lithium and renewable energy production. So they're doing everything they can do to have a short permitting process, but also the European Union is coming in with an industrial law and a raw materials law that both will be public on the 14th of March, and both of these laws that are done at the EU level foresee a short permitting time, and they are forcing with this EU laws that the member states will do everything that they can do to reduce permitting times to enable Europe to become an environmental energy producer and a CO2 free or a low CO2 carbon free lithium production in the future. Next slide. Yeah, we have environmental credentials, which means we are trying to show that we really have renewable energy, the environment in our DNA, and that we show by being part of different initiatives that are, showing that the DNR is with us to be really climate neutral, to save CO2, and also to reduce the impact of climate change. Next slide. Yeah, looking at the emissions, all the other projects, if it's open pit mining, if it's salars in South America, have a larger environmental impact. It means groundwater, it means CO2, it means area that is used for the construction and. So in all these credentials, we are very low. The example here is showing the CO2 footprint. And as we're producing renewable energy and we are producing more than we use for our lithium production, we could say that we are CO2 negative because we are avoiding CO2 emissions from coal or from gas or oil elsewhere. So we are really negative while the others are positive. Next slide. That shows the water consumption. We are the lowest in the world on water consumption. I don't want to go into details, but it is really a big difference to the others, especially to South America, salars that are using a lot of water. Next slide. Yeah, short-term objectives, demo plant, we're going to start drilling. In summer, as I said, we will get permits. We already have the permits, especially the environmental permits that are very important. And we're working on permitting all the time to be on track for the production of lithium. We are at the moment securing funding, equity, as well as debt, and we have processes to do that. Execution is the big point at the moment. We started as a development company. Now we are transferring in an execution company. So we are building up more and more staff to meet the challenges, to develop these and to build these projects that we have been developed. And after we have done the first phase, the second phase will be shortly shown in another DFS, but then after the second phase, there will be more phases to come in the future. Next slide. Yeah, that is the project timeline. It shows everything like drilling, like putting up the sorption plants, like putting up the central plants. No detail. We got only a couple of more minutes to go. Next slide. We have the team, we have a structure that is guiding us through what we want to do. We have a CEO, Francis Vedin, who is with me, the co-founder of the company. He now has a Chris on his side, who is in charge of the manufacturing, of being a production company and not a development company. We have the core functions, which means develop the projects and execute the projects, and then we have the support functions, which is everything that you need, ESG, where you need, the political lobbying, where you need the public acceptance and all that. This is done in the support functions as well as innovations and other things. We have the legal department, we have the commercial department. So everything that a company needs is set up in this structure. Next slide. So where does the money come from? You need equity. The equity has been taken up from the stock exchange in the beginning to do our development. We will need more equity. That's why we're talking to people like yourself that are interested in funding equity in renewable energy projects and lithium projects. And on the other hand, we are looking forward to receive some grants from the EU together with Germany. Usually grants work like that. That's a funding concept involving the EU and the federal government. And we have a pre-application at the German government for a large amount. And we will have under the Raw Materials Act, we are hoping to be selected as one of the project of strategic importance, which will also be funded partly by the European Union. And on the other side, you have debt, and there BNP Paribas is guiding us to talk to banks. Next slide, please. So conclusions, you have a great project, and I don't want to wrap up everything that I just explained. Again, you can read it. I would be very much interested to get your questions and to have a discussion about what we are doing, and I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kreuter. We received a few questions already, but if I'm allowed to, I would like to start with one regarding the slide number 21. There you mentioned that the lithium chloride solution is extracted and has to be transported to Ludwigshafen, if I remember well. So just give us an idea how much volume can be extracted from the 200 liter per second and the 300 liter per second. How much trucks do you have to hire to transport the lithium solution to Ludwigshafen?
Okay, so the situation is that when you flush the sorbent with fresh water to extract the lithium chloride from the sorbent, you get a large volume of water, which means 2% of the water is lithium chloride and 98% is water. We don't want to ship that large amount of water through the area. That's why we use the energy of the geothermal plant to do a forced evaporation to bring the water content down. So at the end, you have 40% of lithium chloride and 60% of water. So we have immensely reduced the amount of water to be trucked to, it's not Ludwigshafen, BASF didn't have space for us. We selected Frankfurt Höchst as our central lithium plant. And you see that 300 liters per second rich brine per second is running through the sorbent, but the flushing quantity is much lower. So depending on the size, and you see that we have different sizes of plants, there will be 8 to 12 or maybe double of that amount of trucks leaving the plant every day. It is not very much compared of these DLH and other delivery companies that are running hundreds of trucks. We have a limited size of trucks, but enough to transport it. As a matter of fact, as all our projects are along the Rhine and also Frankfurt Höchst is on the Main and Rhine, we think we can use ships to bring them on site. So this transport situation is developing with time. So we want to reduce our CO2 impact by maybe using electric trucks. And also have a look at shipping the quantity of water.
Okay, many thanks. So I would like to go to the questions from the chat room. There was one, can you give a little bit more background regarding the new lower flow rate assumptions and the impact for the production targets?
Okay. In our first model, we were looking at the concept how heat mining works in the Upper Rhine Valley. And we were, hoping to also include new lithium that will be washed out of the minerals. As a matter of fact, we said we're going to move on the conservative side and just look at the lithium that is stored in the brine that already exists. And that is a different concept of liquid mining, I would call it. So we have now to rearrange, especially in the injection wells, in a way to push the brine from the injection well into the production well. And as we are not in high flow rate areas with our injection wells, but we're in low flow rate areas, we need a longer horizontal drilling part, and the amount of water that we can re-inject is smaller, because we don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, because the more pressure we put on it in the injection side, there might be a risk of seismicity, and we want to avoid that. And therefore, it's a different concept that we have developed, which reduces the production. But as we have widened the area of our activity in these clusters, we have even more production in the first phase with a lower flow rate than in our first concept, which was shown in the PFS. Does it explain the way that you have understood it?
I think so. If not, the question can be re-asked. Just to go back to the transport of the lithium, there was another question. Are there special containers needed for the transport? And how significant is the cost of the transport?
The cost of the transport is not significant as the distances and the volumes are small compared to other business in transport. On the other hand, you don't need special containers. It's salt water. It's not just a kind of table water salt, it's just lithium salt. So you just have salt water and nothing else to it. So also you're not in a special, security environment of transportation.
Okay, thanks a lot. There are a few questions regarding the drilling and the drilling rigs. So let's go to this topic. And the first question is, could you elaborate a little more on the available drilling rigs? Two are already owned by Vulcan and are currently being refurbished. What about the other two? Are there already discussions owning with potential suppliers? And will they be rented or will they be purchased?
We are looking at both options. As a matter of fact, we are looking into, and there are discussions with drill rig producers to produce these drill rigs. So we order them and then we will receive them and we own them in Vulcan. And then there are third parties that are offering drilling services, drill rigs, but they are not that many. And we need some large rigs. So that is a kind of a situation where we have to manage. And therefore we are reaching out also to oil and gas majors and oil and drilling service companies to supply the drilling rigs that we need. And that is one other way. We will have to introduce these drilling rigs from other areas. There are not that many in Central Europe, so they have to come in from other countries, and that will also be a process to be considered. And our team is working on the right setup. Pre-owned drilling rigs, new drilling rigs that we buy, and getting drilling rigs from third parties, drilling contractors, and also looking at partners to supply drilling rigs from the oil industry.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And there's another question regarding the personnel needed. Vulcan acquired a drilling labor hire company. It's called Comback Personaldienstleistungs GmbH, adding a further 60 personnel to Vulcan's in-house development drilling team. Could you explain the rationale behind this acquisition? And was this company specialized in drilling personnel?
This company is specialized in drilling personnel. This personnel is already working and has been working in the past in different wells that have been drilled in the Upper Rhine Valley, but also outside of the Upper Rhine Valley. So purchasing this company brings experienced personnel to us. On the other hand, rig availability is one point, but getting the drilling personnel is even harder. So we're discussing with the German government and with others to build up drilling schools and to really take care of the personnel that will be needed in the future, as Vulcan is not the only company that wants to drill for heating. We're the only one or one of the only ones doing lithium, but there's also the renewable energy part, and there will be drilling rigs needed. So there's and also personnel needed. So it's a way to secure the personnel so we can deliver.
Mm. And thanks for the answer. Another question regarding the drilling is somehow the drilling itself. What is the basis for the assumption that the time to drill a well is shortening over time? You get more experienced, how it's working, you need another technique, or what is the ratio behind it?
Another technique or technical development could be one part, but example in the Molasse region of Germany, where a lot of wells were drilled for geothermal, has shown how the reduction of cost and time, and most of the cost is time. The shorter you drill, the less costly. So it has shown that even after already 10 or 15 wells, you can cut 25% of the cost, and that has been proven in the Molasse region. And we're working with geology, and the geology is different in these areas, but we get the experience in our area. We know which drilling mud to use for special kind of rock, and all that experience will add up in a shorter time.
Thanks. To get back to a further topic, will the trucks to transport lithium be fully electric?
Yes, we hope that we can buy some of these trucks from Daimler Trucks, which is in Wörth, which is in the Upper Rhine Valley. It's the largest truck factory in the world. And there they have just released one full electric truck. And as we are not doing large distances, these trucks will be ready and able to help us ship it around. And so we're in discussion with Daimler Trucks about purchase of these trucks when we need them.
Okay, perfect. For the time being, there's just one last question. So to the audience, if there are any further question we'd like to ask, please don't hesitate to add them to the chat room. For now, it's the question, can you expand on your work with Nobian and the electrolysis process?
Me as a geologist, I have not been directly involved in the discussions, but Nobian is a company experienced in electrolysis. They have, I think, in Rotterdam, the largest electrolysis plant in Europe, so they have a lot of experience in that. They also are neighboring our site in Frankfurt Höchst, so they already have an electrolysis plant there. So they have the know-how. They are located where we're going to locate our electrolysis plants. And so that was very good. And they also are willing to also co-invest to these central electrolysis plants. So there were very good arguments for us to work together with them. And that is a process ongoing. So a demonstration plan for the electrolysis will also be set up still this year.
Okay. And finally, one last question came in. So where do you see risks and or headwinds in the timelines you've provided?
As you have seen with the war Ukraine-Russia and with the shortage of energy, and so the supply chains are one issue. Also, we had to push back our demonstration plant finalizing or startup because of delivery problems. So that I see as a risk. But we are already doing contracts for delivery right now that we can be sure that we have the material we need at the right time, but there are always risks in these delivery chains. Then we have to look at public acceptance. We are building an infrastructure project. We are building pipelines, which means they have to be accepted by the public. Therefore, we have a large communication group, and we are talking to all levels of politics. We are talking to the public to have to get acceptance by them for our projects. And since the prices for gas are skyrocketing in Germany, or have been skyrocketing, everybody wants to know where to get the heat for their household. And so that is a very big plus in what we are doing, that we are not a mine, but a renewable energies project, and we can offer the supply of heat to the public. And that works quite well in acceptance.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot for this answer. And there's finally one question, which is taking the risks, potential risks into account. Can you elaborate on political resistance regarding earthquakes?
That is one big point about geothermal. There have been, in the development of geothermal in Germany, seismic events, especially in related to research projects, like in Basel. There was one project near Strasbourg where on the French side, the people doing that were not doing it the way they should have done it. It has been shown in reports that they were just unprofessional. We're doing it professionally, so we can convince, together with the community of geothermal, the community of research and development, the community of universities. We are able to convince the people, and we already have done that several times. There were some communities in areas where they had a problem with seismicity, where the city council said no to geothermal, and we turned it around by discussing, by showing that we know how to do it, and we were convincing them to allow our 3D seismic, and now in the next step, together with the local utility that is partly owned by the city, to supply heat to the community, to a community that once was against geothermal.
Thank you. So at the end, there's just last one contribution, which however is just saying thank you to all for a great presentation. I'd like to say the same. Thank you for the presentation to all the Vulcan team. It was a pleasure to host you today and to get the deeper insights in your business model and the rationale behind. I would really like to say thank you to all of you.
Yeah, thank you for listening, and yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Anytime.
You're welcome. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.